What's up, KMB? Britt, did you get my email? Yeah, today was a little boring. I'm trying to figure out what was the deal with the witness. I'm trying to remember her name. Hyde was the last name. I'm trying to understand, and I don't know if it's because... Hi, Jennifer. Thank you. Jessica Hyde. I don't know if it was because people are going back to her from the first trial, but I didn't see the first trial, so I couldn't really speak on it. But I feel like everyone was saying that she was very controversial. It seemed like the defense was trying to get her, thank you, that's so cute. The defense was trying to get her impeached because apparently she's been on other trials and there's been issues with her and her testimony on other trials. I thought she sounded very informative when the prosecution interviewed her, but then when the defense interviewed her, and I didn't finish. I have like a few more minutes left of it, but I feel like when the defense questioned her, that's when everything started to like fall apart. So I initially thought, oh, she's really informative. She's speaking in layman's terms for the jury to understand the way the data works. But the feedback in the chats were just like crazy. So it really threw me off. Sorry, guys, the Knicks game's on. Yeah, that was very weird. Like I said, I feel like she was doing so good with the prosecution. And then when the defense got on, she sounded like so stupid. It was crazy. Helen! Well, I mean, she should know more than the lawyers because she's an expert witness. She's a professional when it comes to the data, and she should know more than them. Hey, Jess. We miss you too. I hope you're doing all right. It did sound like she helped the defense for sure. It was just very weird. There was like talks of like some people were saying like, is she a hostile witness? But I think there needed to be more to it than that. No, not about the data. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was just really interesting. So what did you guys think of, this wasn't today, obviously, but what did you guys think of Ryan Nagel and his girlfriend, their testimony on what they saw when they went to pick up Ryan's sister? So it was basically his girlfriend at the time, the kid Ricky, who was driving, who I don't think they called this time around, because now I'm getting confused because I am pulling up old shots from the first trial, and now I'm confused as to, but I don't think they pulled Ricky up. I think Ryan Nagel was definitely on. Thank you, Jennifer. Ryan Nagel was definitely on, and his girlfriend. I know. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, why did they break up? Cute couple. Sam, you don't think... Oh, okay. You're still talking about Miss Hyde. So What about, did you hear Ryan Nagel and his girlfriend talk about what they saw when they pulled up to the house? Because they arrived at the exact same time that Karen and John arrived. So I thought their testimony was really interesting. You don't think it helped with the prosecution? No, I don't think it did either. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, but I don't think it helped with the prosecution either because, what's up, Dawn? Hey, Mari. I don't think it helps with the prosecution either because they basically both, their stories matched that when they initially passed the car, they saw a man and a woman. And the second time they passed the car, they only saw a woman. So that means that is the exact time that John got out of the car and never got back in the car. However, they did say that the dome light was on, the light inside the car, that the dome light was on. So that had me thinking, was the door open for the dome light to be on, or was the dome light on because she manually turned the dome light on? Hi, Jahira. They didn't see him inside or outside the car. Right, but they didn't see him inside the car, so that would indicate that he definitely got out of the car, right? So we know that he did get out of the car and he wasn't in the car when they passed by, and she was sitting in the car with her hands on the steering wheel. So that kind of proves that what she says is that she was kind of waiting for him. I still don't understand how he could be injured that severely if they were that close to the curb. That part I don't understand, because he would have been, let me see if I remember. They were parked, the house is here, and they were parked this way, I believe. So the driver's side door, no, I think they were parked this way. I don't remember now. I had it in my head. But either way, I feel like, how does he sustain those kind of injuries when he's that close to grass and he ends up unalived on the grass? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what, if anything, could he have hit his head on? It didn't seem like there was anything there. And if you saw the autopsy, photos, he has like a huge gash in the back of his head. What caused this huge gash? I do need a spreadsheet. I have to start. I do make notes. But I don't, fuck the spreadsheets. So yeah, that's the part that's got me, is he has this huge gash on his head. If she did accidentally hit him, he falls onto grass, right? I mean, if they're up against the curb, what would he have fallen on that would cause? And again, I don't think we could say the car caused those injuries, because they don't line up. The injuries don't line up with the height of the car. So that, to me, when I saw those injuries on the back of his head, I'm like, that looks like he may have, honestly, it's possible that he may have fallen, if let's say it did happen in the house, right? Maybe he fell onto it looks almost like he fell onto a sharp table. And maybe he fell onto this table and got a gash on his head, and then they kind of panicked and they were like, okay, we need to cover this up. Because they were maybe, they were fighting or something prior to that. I think regardless, they have things to hide, and that is definitely why they were looking to cover up things. I definitely think that they had a lot of skeletons in the closet, and they just didn't want things to come out. And I think with an investigation, they were afraid that things were going to come out. So Joyce, according to Ryan Nagel and his girlfriend, I can't remember her name, but according to them, the car was stopped pretty close to the flagpole because they showed that they were stopped at the end of the driveway. Okay, now I remember. Their car was facing this way, and the house, so the house at the front of the house is here, their car is facing this way. So the passenger side was on the curb. They were parked at the end of the driveway near the second door that goes into the garage or wherever it goes into. And then Karen and him were initially parked, he said, 1.5 car lengths ahead. And then she moved up a little bit. So they ended up close to the flagpole when all was said and done. I think it's more likely, Sam, that the dog, like that there was maybe some sort of altercation and the dog was being defensive, and that's how he ended up maybe with defensive wounds on his arm. And then it's possible that he fell because they were all so drunk that he fell and hit his head on a table. I mean, the gash in the back of his head, I can't see the gash in the back of his head happening by being hit by a car. That's the part that I'm struggling with. I'm still on the fence though, because I really just have a hard time with the idea that, we're talking about like more than 15 people corroborated. And again, if we're not talking about the trial itself and what I think will be the outcome, I mean, my opinion is the outcome is most likely she's going to be found not guilty. No verdict yet, Stacey. It's too soon. They're only on day 11. Nobody heard his phone ringing, vibrating, or lighting up when all of them left the house. So apparently he was found with the phone underneath him. That's what they're saying, that the phone was underneath his body when he was found. Yeah, it's only day 11, and they have a long list of they have a long witness list, so they're not going to be wrapping this up anytime soon. I think the projected time frame was 6 to 8 weeks of trial. So, yeah, we're in this for the long run. But anyway, so I still, like I said, I still think that it's very possible that she accidentally struck him. That's still in my mind. I can't leave that idea yet. But I'm playing all the different scenarios. And I do agree that the injuries are not consistent with being struck by a vehicle. The ME said that they were not consistent with being struck by a vehicle. I think that's probably one of the biggest things, one of the biggest piece of evidence that the defense is going to have is the prosecution's own ME cannot declare it a homicide. There is proof, and they will have a witness who will testify about the black back. Supposedly there is evidence on the black box that she did back up for back up at 24 miles per hour. Yes, so I do believe that, I don't know if it's 24 miles an hour or if it was 24 feet. That I'm not 100% sure. There's so much that it's hard for me to remember everything. For sure, the police work, not good. I mean, I think the other thing the defense has going for them is that Proctor ends up getting fired based on his police work that he did on this investigation, or his conduct rather. I think when the investigator talked about the way he secured the evidence, I think that's going to be a huge problem for the jury, because if you believe in due process and you're somebody who believes in justice, right? You're going to say, okay, if this was me in this case and they were taking evidence and putting it in, unsterilized cups with no seals and bags that they got from God knows where, that's a problem. I mean, that's going to be a big problem for the jury. The jury is definitely going to have an issue with that for sure. There's so much that could be coincidental, right? But there is so much doubt in this case. I can't see a jury convicting with this amount of doubt. I just can't. I can't see it unless we see something that hasn't been presented yet. I don't know if there's any, there was some talk about a couple of new things coming to the forefront. One of them was the temperature on the phone. So that was one thing. And then I believe the black box. So I don't think we heard on the black box yet. So I do think that if there is additional evidence, it could change, but I think as of now, I don't see a jury convicting her. I really don't. They were actually talking today about a third trial. And I'm like, if they go for a third trial, this is ludicrous. Ludicrous. Because I understand they want justice, but it's such, listen, I don't want to say this because obviously it's someone's loved one and someone lost their life and John O'Keefe deserves justice. But I just feel like the resources that they're using to bring this trial again is it's crazy. And she's even if they don't bring a third trial, she's going to have a civil trial that she's going to have to deal with after this. So, if she is in fact innocent, this is really fucked up. This is really fucked up. Like they're going to drag her until they get justice. And I think it was Law and Order that I was listening to, and some of the professionals on there were saying like, they really can foresee a third trial being brought. And I was like, wow, I can't even imagine that they would bring a third trial. This is with the evidence that they have. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless there's new evidence to bring a third trial with the same shit you brought for the first two trials, it's really a waste of taxpayers' dollars. Yes, I know they did say that. I mean, at that point, you do your civil trial and you kind of accept that, because the civil trial is completely different. It's not, it's preponderance evidence. It's not the same as a criminal trial. So she could very well be found guilty in a civil trial. But to take it again with the same evidence, the same witnesses, it's really, it would really be a waste of taxpayers' dollars. Yes, they can, Sam. That's what I'm saying. They're talking about possibly a third trial. Oh, no, not if she's not guilty. I'm sorry. If she's found not guilty, no. No, once there is a not guilty verdict, no, they can't. That's double jeopardy. They can't try her again. But if there is a mistrial, they can bring it again. Oops. I don't know how to move this thing. I think that thing is, oh, I was going to say that thing is like officially. Whatever. They said it again today. That they'll try her till like they get her. Yeah. I mean, they're not gonna stop. It's only double jeopardy if she's found not guilty. They can't try you again for something you're found not guilty for. But they can try her again like they did with this last trial. On her first trial, it was a hung jury. So they can do it again because it's a mistrial. I know, Lauren. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think a jury's going to be able to find her guilty. Just remember, though, that the jury is not seeing what we saw in the first trial. So the jury's not allowed to know certain things that we know. Like I didn't, but many people that are following this case intensively have seen the first trial, have seen everything that's out there, all the Turtle Boy stuff. And so the jury is not supposed to have seen that. So you have to take that into account, is that whatever we've seen in the last 11 days is the only thing that the jury has seen. So at the end of this trial, whatever is presented, that the jury has to make the decision based off of that. I don't know if she went back to work. I mean, I can't imagine that. How could she work? She's in trial 5 days a week. You can't tell me that they didn't know before this. Find it hard to believe. It is hard to believe that you can find a jury that hasn't, heard about this trial. But listen, there are people that sleep under rocks, that live under rocks, that don't follow. There's people that don't follow true crime. There is people that have no idea. Like, honestly, if you asked my sister-in-law about this, she would have absolutely no idea. She has no social media. She doesn't have a TV. She streams. She would never know who Karen Reed is. So if they could find 12 people like that, which there's 12 people like that, especially if you get an older person, like my mom has no idea who Karen Reed is. My husband only knows who Karen, my husband's always at work. He's barely on social media. He has no idea. He knows who Karen Reed is because of me, but he doesn't know who Karen Reed is. So, that's 3 people right there. So maybe she is. But yeah, there's definitely people out there that don't know the case. I know it sounds crazy, but there are people out there that have never heard about Karen Reed and know nothing. See, Mama Bear says, I knew nothing about this until this trial. I knew the name. That was it. So, Mama Bear, you're kind of like me, where you're watching the trial for the first time and you're only seeing what's presented during this case. Like, for example, I'm starting to watch like clips from first trial, but for example, like I didn't see Jen McCabe's her first testimony. So when I went and I watched it, compared to this testimony, it's much different. Her demeanor is different. Alan Jackson is different with her. It is a different testimony. So if I was only seeing her in this trial, I wouldn't have the hatred that people have towards her that's seen her in the first trial. You know, people didn't like the way she was in the first trial. They didn't like her behavior, her demeanor. So you got to remember, this jury's not seeing that. This jury is not going to see how she acted in that first trial. It was completely different this time around. Plus, she got her hair did. So I think like anybody that's watching it for the first time, they're kind of seeing it through the eyes of the jury, which is interesting because, you know, at the end of it, you're going to kind of be like with the jury, seeing if you would have, you know, if you would convict her or not, based on the evidence that we have. There's still a lot more to come. There's still a lot more witnesses. We still have Proctor, which I feel like they go back and forth on whether or not he's going to testify, but I do think he's going to be brought in. Mama Bear, I do agree with you. In this one, she's very like, her demeanor is much more calmer. She's more cooperative. Not that I think that her demeanor was that, I don't see what everybody sees about Jen McCabe on the first trial. She definitely had a different demeanor, but I'm not seeing like where like the hate that she gets. I didn't really see it, you know. ARCA witness has to still, Crash Daddy has to still get on the stand. I'm trying to think of who, like, Alberts. We haven't heard from the Alberts yet. We have Nicole Alberts, Brian Alberts. We have Brian Higgins still has to get on the stand. So, yeah, Proctor is a huge part of this case. I agree. You know, the biggest issue is it's a small town. They're all, a lot of them are law enforcement, you know, somehow or another law enforcement related. And, you know, there is a lot of corruption that does tend to come with law enforcement. Not saying I'm a supporter of the police department, but there is definitely corruption within the police department. Like anything else, there's corruption. And I think that if you're from that town, which I'm not, I'm a New Yorker, but I've listened to people talk that are from the area, from the state, and there's definitely corruption. I mean, there's that whole story, which I think the defense wanted to present it, but they're not going to be able to. I think the judge said no on presenting that case. With the girl that was involved with the police officer, the law enforcement. Her mind is her name is slipping my mind. I have terrible memory, but if anybody remembers her name, it's like on the tip of my tongue. That was a major corruption case in the Massachusetts Police Department. So, God, what is that girl's name, guys? Right, Sandra Birchmeier, right? Sandra Birchmeier. So, Birchmore. Sandra Birchmore. I knew I had. So, I mean, people are salty. You know what I mean? They're salty with the police department there. So, they're not going to dismiss the fact that they're doing shady stuff. I mein, one of the major things that I had an issue with was the getting rid of the phones. You know, Brian Higgins, Brian Alberts, both tossing their phones, and one of them driving to literally destroy the phone on state property. Like, you're definitely hiding something. But I'm not sure that what they're hiding has to do with the case. I definitely think he was hiding something. I'm just not convinced that it had to do with the unaliving of John O'Keefe. So that I know, Judge Bev, Auntie Bev, her brother represented Chris Albert in a DUI case where he unalived someone. And not only did he unalive somebody, well, okay, so he was involved Chris Alberts was involved in a DUI when he was 22 years old, and he unalived someone. And Paul O'Keefe was involved in a DUI, and he severely injured someone. So, and supposedly, but I can't find any solid proof of it, but supposedly Karen had fitted the bill for that, because this happened in like 2022 when Karen was around. Paul O'Keefe, he had a DUI and he severely injured somebody. Yeah, are we for sure 100% that Colin Alberts is not going to be called? I know that the judge ruled that he can't be used as, like they can't accuse him of unaliving John during the trial, but I'm not sure if he will be called as a witness. I think, unfortunately for Karen, this prosecutor is way more experienced and thorough. See, Gigi, I actually disagree with you. But again, I shouldn't say I disagree with you, because I don't know Lolly that well, because I didn't watch the full trial the first time. I actually think this prosecutor sucks. In my personal opinion, I would not want this guy defending me. I know he's supposed to be like some high end, which... Let's just think about this for a second, right? The state hired, thank you, Jill. The state hired an attorney that's not normally a prosecutor, okay, for the state. He's not, I don't believe that that's what his job is. I don't believe he is, normally a prosecutor for the state. So they went out and got this guy. That's how badly they want to win this case. I mean, I have not heard of that, where the state goes out and now finds an attorney, like some high profile attorney, and uses that attorney and gets rid of the first attorney on the case. I mean, that alone is like pretty wild to me. Like, they're desperate. You know what I mean? They're desperate. And I actually don't think he's doing that great of a job. I find him very annoying. Yes, I know he did. He did defend a mobster. Right, he's a special hired prosecutor, which, I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but it's not that common. So it's kind of crazy that they're so desperate to win this case that they went out and sought an attorney instead of using the state prosecutor, and they basically took Lally off the case. Right, it hired with taxpayers' money, right. Oh, I'm sure he's getting paid good. Gigi said, I'm on the side of her being guilty. So, Gigi, that's where I'm falling, but I didn't see the first trial. But I just have a really hard time. I'm just having a hard time. I'm not saying that I believe 100% that she did it. I'm just still not there yet. I need more. I need to continue to watch the trial. I'm not there yet. I still feel like it's very possible that she accidentally hit him. D.A. Morrissey got him. Bev is crooked, not guilty, huge cover-up. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people feel that way. They're all family. Mass cops are so corrupt. She is the phone movement did it for me. They didn't have the last time that I remember. Who has Hank presented the shoes? Karen, she did not hit him. How do you think she's guilty? They have once proved thing. So, Tally, I think that if I was to say it as a juror, I would say she's not guilty. But my gut is not convinced that she didn't accidentally run him over. There's that doubt in my mind that I'm not ready to let go of until I have something more solid. And I don't know that we'll ever have that. That's the problem. I don't know that we're ever going to have something solid. I think, unfortunately, there will be no justice for John O'Keefe. I think this has become a battle, between, the state and Karen Read, and the people that think she's guilty and the people that don't think she's guilty. And everyone's lost in the fact that John O'Keefe is unalived. And it's more now of, a lot of people see it as an innocent woman who's being dragged through, right? So please look up ARCA from last trial. It was approved and almost blocked. It's not possible. So I did see that ARCA will be, I listened to the hearing or whatever that was that they talked about whether or not they were going to present it. And I do know that ARCA was originally they were originally hired by the prosecution, and now they've basically become the defense's witness. I don't think, I know they're going to testify. I definitely don't think that, or I definitely do think that her doing the shows, in my opinion, listen, this is my opinion. She's not likable. To me, she wasn't likable. Watching her on the series, the Netflix series that she did, it was Netflix, right? To me, she wasn't a likable person, but that doesn't mean she's guilty. She just wasn't likable to me. But I'm not saying that means she's guilty. I do feel that she's not likable. I don't think it was a great idea for her to speak. I know that they feel like it's her voice, but once you do that, once you do those interviews, you open yourself up, because they were talking about it today. If she does those interviews and now the defense says, well, that's her voice, we want to use her interviews and put it out to the jury and let the jury hear Karen's voice. Well, they can do that, but they're allowed to, now the prosecution's allowed to cross, and they've opened themselves up for the prosecution to use those videos. And that's what the prosecution has done. So far, the defense hasn't, I don't know, maybe one time has showed the docuseries. The prosecution's used her docuseries several times. So, hi, Jody. You're a local? My mind is open if the CW can prove she hit him. That's where I'm at, TNC. They didn't in the first trial and won't this time. And I agree with you, TNC. I think the doubt is stacked, and I just don't think they'll be able to convict her. Okay, why Brian Albert next arm in sling and black eye? This is ridiculous. So, user, Brian Albert with the black eye and the sling, there is no evidence of when that photo was taken. If you have evidence of that, I'm open to hearing that. But what I saw, there was no evidence of that as far as when it was taken. That could have been an old photo. Actually, when I looked at it, I was like, wait, that's Brian Albert? He actually looked a little bit younger, too. They can't use her documentary. This is not the law. They are using her documentary, Crystal. They're using it. They're playing it. The prosecution is calling their witness. The defense will not call theirs until they are done. So what? Wait, I'm missing so many comments. I'm sorry, the chat's going. If anybody, by the way, this is an open discussion. If anybody wants to get on the panel and share their thoughts, whether they think she's guilty or not guilty, you're welcome to join the chat and speak. I love to speak to other people. Jen McCabe was so tired this time around. She looked worn out. Yeah, I mean, Jen definitely, they seem like they've just had enough. They've just had enough. They're tired. I mean, imagine having to do this twice. Jennifer says totally guilty. Okay. The defense can't use it by law. I thought the defense could play her. I thought the defense could play. So you're saying the defense cannot play her series? Join the live by selecting multi. Yes, you can join the live by selecting guests if you want to join. I thought they did show clips. Do you know anything about Mary Kent? No, Caroline, I don't. Isn't the snowplow driver the end of the story? He did. So, Brian, I mean, I feel like there's so many things in this case that could be end of story, right? Like, to me, when she backed out of the driveway, I don't have any doubt in my mind that she probably broke her taillight when backing out of the driveway. I think she definitely hit that car because the tire moved. And I remember seeing that clip in the first trial. That tire moved. So, I mean, I feel like there's so many things that we can say, well, doesn't this, it looks like somebody wants to join. Arco was hired by FBI. Now, oh, okay, Crystal, you're right. I'm sorry. I believe based on her voicemails and reaction at scene, it would be highly probable. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Thanks for joining.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi. So I'm from Massachusetts, and I'm not saying I know anybody in particular on the trial, but I work with people that know some of these people, and the one girl I work with particularly is from Canton, doesn't want to talk about it at all, gets very mad every time I bring up the trial. But they were going to blame this on Lucky Loughran to start with. And Karen just came along at the right time with the right information. And that's how they flipped it around, because there was a DPW call, according to Canton police officer Peter Murphy, went out at 4:00 in the morning, that there was a body down at 34 Fairview. He's a Canton police officer, retired, a good cop who knows a lot of information. I don't know why it would be, second people like, I guess he can't really go on the stand or anything because it's hearsay evidence. But they said that they were told if anybody from Canton DPW said anything, that they would be fired, that nobody heard that phone call go out. And then they were going to blame it on Lucky, because Lucky's a little slow.
I did hear that from a few different outlets.
And Lucky, his brother, is on the board of selectmen in Canton. He's the head of the board of the selectmen in Canton.
Chris Albert you're talking about, right?
No, Lucky's brother.
Oh, really? Okay.
The head of the selectmen in Canton. So is Chris Albert. He is on it too. But his brother, Lucky's brother, is the head of the selectmen in Canton.
Interesting.
And
Lucky is the tow truck driver, for whoever doesn't know.
He's the plow driver, yeah.
He says, I'm sorry, the tow truck driver. The snow plow driver that drove by that night that said that he did not see a body on the lawn. And then when he came back, he said that he saw a Ford Edge parked by the flagpole.
Correct.
Which, I mean, that to me right away, I thought, they parked that truck there to hug the body. That's what that sounded like to me. Like maybe they were waiting for something to happen. And in the meantime, they parked in front to maybe cover the body.
Right. And, I hear that Canton's, a lot of Canton people are, particularly these people, are swingers. And that's why Karen didn't want to go in the house, because she was like, just go check out what kind of party it is first, is what the word is. And when he didn't come back, she got pissed off, and that's why she left all those voicemails, and that's why she was screaming that he was a pervert, and that she was so mad. But she was drunk. They were all drunk.
They were definitely all drunk. I mean, I think some of them were more drunk than others, but
Correct.
Yeah, they were definitely, I mean, including Karen. I mean, she was definitely drinking as well.
Yep. But Ryan Nagel just testified that she was on the right side of the road, that she wasn't driving erratically, that she stayed within her lane.
Right.
And I love seeing some of these things where when he's testifying, somebody kept coughing, like, you better answer correctly, or but he admitted that there was nobody in the car when he left 34 Fairview after he was supposed to pick his sister Julie up.
Right. So that's what I said. I mean, him and his girlfriend both said that they originally saw the two of them in the car when they first passed the car, and then, or when they first saw the car. And then the second time they saw the car, they only saw Karen, and the dome light was on in the car.
Yeah. Yep.
I do agree with a lot of people are saying Karen's reaction and her voicemails and stuff like that. I mean, I do believe that she was genuinely scared. You know what I mean? She was genuinely freaking out. I think all of that was genuine. Some people are taking it like, she's an angry girlfriend and that just shows how angry she was. But I think the voicemails were, yeah, she was angry because he didn't come out or whatever. He didn't come back out. That's what she thought in her mind. The problem that I'm having is when she immediately wakes up that morning, her first thought is, OMG, I could have unalived him. Did I hit him? Could I have hit him? And I'm having a hard time with that because I can't imagine I wake up in the morning, I dropped my boyfriend off and the first thing I think is, did I hit him with my car? That part is hard for me. Because why would she think that immediately? Why would that be her first thought? Did I hit him?
Well, do we really know that's her first thought?
Well, she admitted it on her docuseries. She said, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? He didn't look mortally wounded. I mean, I know she's talking about the following morning, right? She is talking about the following morning that she's looking at him and he doesn't look mortally wounded when she sees him on the lawn. But she did admit that she had that thought in her head. Did I hit him? Could I have hit him?
I don't know. I can't believe that the prosecution, or I can believe, but they're not having the medical examiner being called to their witness list, and it's the defense that's going to call Dr. Scorty Bello, because
the defense is going to call because she's good. She's a good witness for the defense because she would not determine that his manner of death, his cause of death, she determined. The manner of death, she would not determine a homicide. And she said that his injuries were not consistent with being struck by a car. To me, that's case closed. How is that not enough to just say case closed? There's no way,
I know. I just, there's a big government investigation about Morrissey and.
Yes, I got to look into that a little bit more. But I have heard about that.
That's how the feds got involved, is because they had apparently bugged his office. And this murder just happened I think it was an accidental murder, but still happened while they were investigating Morrissey.
Right. So I agree. I mean, I think either way, this was an accidental unaliving. You have to say these certain words on TikTok, otherwise you get kicked.
Sorry.
That's okay. I do think that was an accidental either way, whether it was her or it was them. I don't think that anyone intended for John to be unalive that night. Something happened, and we may never know. I mean, that's the sad part of it, is I don't think he'll ever get justice. I just think this will be a circus. That will just continue on until somebody on one side gets tired,
And I just don't get the mother, and I feel bad for them because she's lost 2 children. But I don't get the
terribly
mother
bad for her.
and the brother. Apparently the father really likes Karen, and the mother never really liked her. Nobody was ever going to be good enough for her son, in a sense. I have another coworker that was friends with the sister and said that they were all big drinkers in that house. So
yes, I did hear that as well. And I heard, I've heard some negative things about the mom. And I don't like to repeat those things because at the end of the day, she's mourning. She lost 2 children, and
correct.
I just don't, I don't condone that type of stuff. But, unfortunately, when these things happen, victims, even the victims have to deal with, the shit that's put out there online, and, the supporters or whatever. Listen, you could support that Karen Read is innocent, but that doesn't mean that you have to drag, his parents. But I did hear that as well. I heard that the dad actually liked her. Mom, not so much. And, she got along well with the niece and nephew. So
it's funny how Jen McCabe called the mother, though, when the FBI came. I thought that was a very odd response.
Oh, I thought so too, because she was naming all the people that she called, and I was like, that's interesting. But on the same end of it, like, I put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, I probably would have been calling everybody too. Like, that's just me. I probably would have called and said, did they call? What did they ask you? What did they say? Like, that's just, to me, that didn't seem too shady to
Yeah, but
me.
to the mother?
The mother, I mean, listen, they were friendly. Maybe she called to say, did anybody, did they come? Did they ask you any questions? What did they ask you? I don't know. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if I find
Yeah.
it that shady.
She's so unlikable, that Jen
She
McCain.
is. She's unlikable. But I mean, for me, I think Karen Reed is unlikable too. Doesn't make her guilty. I just don't think she's that. I mean,
Yeah.
on the docu-series, I was like, ugh, she's really not likable. And like, when she said, did you see when she said it's either going to be me or Jen McCabe that's going down?
Yes.
I feel like that was not, I mean, the jury may look at that and be like,
Oh, you know who else is but I trust, though, is, who is very important in this whole case is that Dighton cop who um saw Karen Reed's car at the parents' house, and he testified that there was only a crack and a tiny little piece missing. So he's a very
who was that?
he's there's a Dighton police officer who was called to the scene. I think his last name is like Barrows,
Oh, yes. Okay. Yep.
and he is going to be called by the defense to say that there was only a crack in the tail light with a tiny piece missing. And this
Right.
Peter Murphy, the Canton police officer, also said, I know who took that um, tail light apart in the Sallyport, but he was on some show, I think Las Vegas Cops, and he said, I can't say. He can only say so much. He, he's very believable too to me, because he's got nothing in the game for it either.
Yeah. Well, this is who the defense needs to call, and that's the people that we need to, put our focus into. I do find it very hard to believe that if she hit his body, that her entire taillight shatters into 46 pieces. I really do find that hard to believe.
Right.
I think it's more likely that, I really truly believe she hit that car. She hit his car backing out, because again, the tire moved. It looked like she hit that car. And if she did, it's most likely she wasn't going fast. So it would more likely be a crack,
Yep.
where one or two pieces would fall off of it, but not 46 pieces. Like, if she hit it at like high speed, I could see that. And I mean, I did insurance claims for years. And I've never seen a taillight, unless it was in like a big accident, where the taillight is completely shattered in that many pieces.
Yeah.
So that I have a hard time with, all of those pieces. That's just, I just can't see a body causing 46 pieces of taillight being
Right.
shattered.
And there's two black eyes, and I mean,
Well, the black eyes I can understand, because he has head trauma. And when you have head trauma, you can get he only had one black eye. The second one came out when he was at the hospital. And that's like bleeding on the brain. That's what happens. Like, it swells up, and then the blood starts to come to the surface. So that I can believe, the black eyes, but the scratches on the arm too. I mean, I can't see that being done from a car. And again, if she was up against the curb, if she did hit him, where would he fall? Most likely onto the grass. You know what I'm saying? So
right. And some people are saying Ryan Nagel said it was just a dusting, and then there was some other guy that got on there, and I thought he said it was, or maybe he was previously had testified at one trial that it was frozen. I was like, frozen versus Ryan Nagel saying it was.
Well, that was such a weird question. What, like, was the ground hard or soft? Like, I don't know. I don't walk around touching the ground. I mean, the ground is hard, right? I mean, that was such a stupid
But it's not
question.
like it's pavement.
Right. It was very stupid
grass.
question. Britt says the meteorologist. What do you want? What are you asking about the meteorologist, Britt? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I completely skipped over the meteorologist. I was trying to stay awake. If she's not found guilty, I mean, I think she'll be found not guilty. I don't think she's going to be found guilty. Is there anybody else that wanted to come up and talk?
Yeah, you can end me. That's fine.
Sure. Thanks.
I don't
for
know how to
joining.
end it. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Is there anybody else that wanted to join? So Gala, I agree. That's another thing. That's another issue that the prosecution is going to have is, and that's some of in the last 11 days, we've heard that come up a few times. And I think there was a really good point that was brought up. Leah, what exactly about Higgins' phone is a huge problem, him getting rid of it? So I think the really good point was brought up. They're on the lawn. A man is down, right? They're in a panic state, and your brother-in-law is in the house and he's a cop. And you're not immediately running in. Now, I want to play devil's advocate here because I took CPR classes, and the first thing they tell you when you take CPR classes is the first thing you need to do is tell someone to go call 911. You start working on the person and you tell someone to call 911. So calling 911 first before you go get somebody else and starting CPR, that part I get. But once 911 is called, you don't run in the house to get someone that knows how to handle this situation, maybe better than you, and call someone, call them out and say, there's a body on the lawn. That's the part that, because I mean, you have time that you have to wait for the cops. And there's 3 of you. It's not like if you leave, you're leaving the victim alone. If you leave, there's 2 other people there with the victim and 911's already been called. So I got a big problem with that, and then they never go in and investigate. And the reason is, well, we didn't feel there was a need to investigate because, it happened on the lawn and, they originally didn't think it was a homicide. They thought it was an accident. And so they didn't feel that it was necessary to go in. I mean, at most, they should be ringing the bell and asking, hey, anybody know what the hell happened to the guy that's dead on your lawn? I mean, it's all fucking crazy and wild, and that's why I don't think she'll be convicted. I am from New York. How is your sister not in peril? I mean, listen, Jen seems to be a more calmer person. She seems like a person that can handle trauma pretty calmly. So I try not to take the way people initially react. Like a lot of people were saying, like when she called 911, she was like, a man is dead on the lawn. You know what? That's probably, I could see myself possibly doing that. Like not thinking anything but, please come, as a man dead on the lawn. Like these little things don't bother me as much as some of the other things that are just really big that you can't ignore. That part, I agree with you 100%. There's no cameras. There's 0 footage, 0. I find it very hard to believe that a police officer who lives across the street, a police officer whose house it happened, street cameras, that there is absolutely no surveillance of Karen Reed in her car at all. The neighbor had a ring cam, Jody, but only looked at their steps. Okay. Because I know there was one that didn't the cop neighbor have footage and it was gone? So we know that Karen connected to his Wi-Fi at 12:36. That's the other problem that I have is the time is so small. The window is so small for him to be unalived that I do feel like it would be more likely that he was unalived in the house and then they didn't put his body out until later. Do you know what I'm saying? It's more likely because the window of time is so small for her to have. I mean, listen, could you hit somebody really quickly, boom, get out of there and go home? Yeah, I mean, especially if she doesn't know she hit him. And she didn't know that she hit his car when she backed out. So she clearly is unaware of things that she's hitting. But again, I just think the window of time is so small. Here's my question. If she hit him, wouldn't she remember? I mean, Casey Charrington, no, she couldn't even remember that she left him at the Albert's house because she initially said she left him at the Waterfall bar, and that's not what happened. Her blood alcohol content was above the legal limit, and it was until around 9 o'clock that morning, which means she was pretty, intoxicated. Becca, I think the body temperature expert that they brought on said that his body temperature was colder. They're saying that it was cold. I don't know. They went according to the phone. So they're saying he was cold and then it got colder and it started to drop. That's what the expert said. Objection calls for speculation. My whole case is based on speculation at this point. I'm speculating every day with this damn trial. Yeah, I don't think she would remember. I mean, I truly, honestly, and that's why I still leave that little window of possibility that she did it and didn't know she did it. And then when she woke up that morning was like, oh, fuck, did I hit him? That's the part I'm having a hard time with. I cannot with the judge. She is, I can't, sustains, overrules. Mr. Jackson, ask your question differently. And then also, what is with when they object, instead of giving an answer, sustained or overruled, she asks the person the question and then makes her decision. Like, what is that? Judge admitted today that she's biased. So I did hear that she apologized to the jury, and I know that there was a sidebar, and there was several sidebars today. I feel like there was probably 15 sidebars today, and I think that the defense must have said something to her. Do I think it will last 6 more weeks? I don't know if it'll last 6 more weeks, but I definitely think that we have at least 2 weeks left. I do, KZ, I do agree with you. I think it could pose a problem with the jury. I missed the apology, so if somebody else knows exactly what she said, but the way I heard it, but I don't remember it. She kind of was like, I apologize. I'm doing this so that you guys don't have, I think it was like something like, you don't have to hear the same, we don't have to waste your time or something like that. Oh, she said it's almost over. So maybe, I haven't looked at the witness list. I thought it was pretty long. But I definitely foresee it's definitely going to next week. And I think it's going to go a week after that too. I give it definitely 2 weeks. I just feel, especially with the amount of sidebars, we're definitely going for another 2 more weeks with the sidebars and the back and forth. I mean, the cross and the direct and the cross and the direct. I feel like we wasted 2 days, right? 2 days on Jen McCabe going back and forth with her. 15 breaks. I mean, she's big on the breaks too. Her dad gave some insureds after court outside that someone big is coming tomorrow. Ooh, cool. It was weird and quick. She said she would have to try a few sidebars. It's so ridiculous. It's definitely crazy. I'll be interested to see. Now, somebody had mentioned, and I don't know if they said that they heard it somewhere else. Britt actually mentioned it. And I don't know if this is in fact going to happen, but Britt had said that she heard on one of the channels that they were possibly bringing in the dog Chloe, not the dog, but her dental records, I believe. That would be really good evidence. That would be excellent evidence. Like, and that's the thing, like, why haven't we done that? Like, why haven't we taken anything from this dog? Why haven't we tested this dog? I know, like, Chloe, please get on the stand. The dog. Chloe's the dog. You don't think Chloe's with us anymore? I mean, they said that Chloe's living on a farm. Listen, if they really are hiding something, getting rid of the dog would probably be the smartest thing, right? Not keeping that dog and giving it to somebody else. Maybe I'm wrong about the dental records. Britt, are you here? What did you say that you heard? We don't know if it's for sure, but she heard it, and I'm hanging on to that because I would love to see something from the dog. Dental mold records to disprove that Chloe was involved. So I don't know if that's going to actually happen, but I'd love to see that. I would love to see that. Yeah, like, I don't understand why we haven't done more with this dog. Unless they have, and they found that there's no evidence that the dog, did anything. Because I feel like if there was something that would help the defense with the dog, AJ would be on it. That's just, I mean, I think he's done an excellent job. If I'm ever in trouble, I'm calling Alan Jackson. I think he's done a great job. He's done a great job of creating, I mean, listen, there's tons of doubt, but he's also done a great job of discrediting the witnesses by, asking questions and going around in circles to the point where they're so motherfucking confused that they're like, whatever you said. Yeah, so I mean, but I'd love to see something with the dog. I really would love to see that because they said there was pig's DNA, which could mean there was like a dog treat or something like that. So I'd like to see, I'd like to see something because pig's DNA, I mean, that could also mean that while he was laying in the snow, maybe he was scratched by an animal outside. If he was out there for a few hours, maybe he was scratched by an animal, a raccoon, an opossum. Right. Dog treat or John had a BLT for lunch. So they're saying that, the pig's DNA could come from a dog treat. But that's one theory. Christina, my opinion on the case is that she'll be found not guilty due to lack of evidence, due to improper investigation. There's reasonable doubt. I really don't have much doubt in my mind that she's going to be found not guilty or we're going to have another hung jury. My personal opinion is I'm not ready to let go of the idea that she accidentally hit him. But I do think that if I was a juror, as much as maybe my gut was telling me maybe she did something by accident, I would have to go based on the way they tell you how to be a juror and the rules that she's not guilty. Fuck. We're going to lose this game. I can't go one way and stick to it. I'm not that kind of gal. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think if she did it, it was definitely unintentional. I think if they did it, it was unintentional. I don't think anybody intended to unalive him. A lot of people go back and forth with it. Again, if anybody wants to get in and doesn't agree with what I'm saying or has an argument or has a good point to make. Nona says her voicemails prove that she didn't intentionally hit him. I don't know if her voicemails prove that, because some people are saying her voicemails are very angry and she's coming off like an angry, mad girlfriend who unalived her boyfriend. I think personally the voicemails sound genuine. She's genuinely mad at first and then in a panic. That's what I'm getting from it. Can't she be not guilty on the second degree charge, but guilty? Yeah, I mean, if there's multiple charges, she can be found guilty on one and not guilty on the other. I just don't think she's going to be found anything. How else do you explain the Google search? So, I mean, Kelsey, if you look at the expert today, right? Like a lot of people are discrediting her and saying she's not good. But if you look at her today, she's claiming that the Google search, she's claiming the same thing that the guy from Cellbrite claimed, or Celebrite is claiming, is that she opened a tab at 2:27 that, let's say she searched basketball, and then use that same tab to search house long to die in the cold. That to me is very believable, because this bitch got tabs open from 2022, okay? So that's very believable to me, that if that's true, I could very well see that happening. However, I'm mind blown that you can open up a tab and it could save a date from that fucking long ago. Okay, from hours earlier, yeah, but I have tabs, literally, if you go in my phone right now, I have tabs that I guarantee you are open over a year. So you're telling me if I use one of those tabs and I search, it's going to show me that I searched it a year ago? That's where I'm disconnecting. How did all these people pull up to the house at the same time and not see him? Well, they were already in the house. So who were you saying pulled up to the house? If Jen unused other tabs, why aren't all her searches showing one other? How is Jen McCabe watching the door for him and not see or hear him getting hit by a car? You'd hear it. I don't know if you would hear it, because there's a good amount of distance between the door and where the car was on the lawn. That's a good distance. So I don't know that she would hear that. And again, I don't know do we know which door she was looking out of? Because there's 2 doors on that house. I agree. Tons of reasonable doubt. A juror from first trial said they didn't pay too much attention to the Google search. In deliberations. That's interesting, but I can kind of see that, because if it's being proven on both, right? If both sides are in argument, one person is saying it was done at this time, another person, and you just can't come to a conclusion, then you have to you can't use that as evidence. You have to kind of put that aside and use the other evidence, because I don't know if we're ever going to get to the bottom of that. We have we have experts on both sides that are arguing two completely different things. So I feel like you just have to put that aside and use the rest of the evidence. No one came out of the house when there were a ton of people and vehicles. You're talking about when he was found, Leona? Because I don't necessarily know that they would hear what was going on because there were no sirens. And I mean, I've been in a deep sleep and things have happened in front of my house. And I mean, I live in Queens. It's a much noisier area. And the houses are closer together. And I don't know that I would necessarily hear. You got to also remember when it's snowing, the snow kind of like captures that sound and you don't hear as much as you normally would if it was not snowing. So I could believe that they didn't necessarily hear anything on the lawn, but I don't understand all the stuff after that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get not going in the house and calling your brother-in-law for help. I don't get them never coming out even when they know something's happening on their lawn. That's the part that I'm having a hard time with. The them not hearing what was going on in their front lawn, I could kind of dismiss that. I don't feel like Karen has ever seemed upset about the fact that he passed. Teresa, I don't know how she was initially. I think now it's 3 years and she's fighting for her life. And now she's kind of lost in the fact that she's fighting for her life. He's gone. He's not coming back. And now, she's left to deal with this. So I don't know how she was in the beginning. I mean, in the beginning, she seems extremely upset. If you listen to her, she's screaming, she's crying, she's calling Jen, she's calling Kerry. She is very upset, noticeably upset. So she did, Teresa, and that's why I say she's not likable, because when I listen to the documentary, I'm like, she's not likable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. She's not a likable person. And as far as I go, I'm sure other people think she's likable. But again, that doesn't mean anything. Jojo, I do agree with you. They were very biased from the beginning because he's a Boston cop. I definitely think that when they finally pulled up and it was time for them to do their investigation, I think initially they thought, oh, this is an accident. But I also think that they already had it in their minds, whether or not it was actually a setup or not. I think they had it in their minds. This is an open and shut case. It's a cop's house. We're not getting deep into this. And I do think it's very possible that they kind of just didn't get deep into the investigation because they kind of were just like open and shut. Like, we're not going to waste our time on this, I feel like if she knew she hit him, she would have called. That's true too, Britt. That's a really good point. If she knew that she hit him and knew that she did something to him, she's not going to call his friends. She's going to call somebody she knows. You know what I mean? She's going to call somebody that she knows is going to be there to support her, not his friends. But again, I think that if she did accidentally hit him when she woke up that morning and thought maybe she hit him, I still don't think that she was processing that. So I think she was going into it not knowing what happened, but thinking maybe in the back of her head, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? F the Red Sox, Tiffany. Yankee fans up in here. Helen says, I don't think she's guilty. I don't think she's going to be found guilty, Helen. And I think that you are the majority. If you look at the polls on a lot of these trial channels, the polls are like more than 75% that she's not guilty. So I think that that's, it's probably closer to like, 60%, but I think it will be in her favor. She sounded very sincere, those records, no intention at all. You mean on her voicemails? Oh, you're a Rangers fan? Those injuries are not from a car. There's no way. Debbie, I agree. I can't put those injuries to the car. And again, I said this before. You may not have been in here. I can't imagine that a body shatters a taillight into 64 pieces. I can't. So Teresa, originally, I did feel the same way. I also felt it was really weird that she called him a pervert, right? Like she kept calling him a pervert, which I'm like, if I was mad at my boyfriend and I felt like maybe he was out with another girl, I wouldn't use the word pervert unless he was out with a girl that was like 20 years younger than him. So I thought that was really weird. What's a Boston thing, KZ? Could have been beaten, had a head injury, and died out. Right, but when would he have been beaten, Helen? Like what time? Where? In what time frame? Because it was such a small window of time that he was dropped off, and then supposedly didn't go in the house, and then she's back at the house, at 12:36, connecting to the Wi-Fi. Jez's journal says you have to remember she thought her man was in the house with the guy she was cheating on him with. That would make you even crazier. What if her taillight was already cracked from backing into his car? So her taillight couldn't have been already cracked because she backed up in the morning. He was already on the lawn or already, deceased when she backed up and hit his car. That was done at like 4:00 in the morning or something like that. So, because I thought about that too. I'm like, well, if she already had a cracked taillight, maybe it was serrated and it caused the damage to his arms. But that taillight wasn't cracked until later on in the morning. Right. I mean, KZ, I definitely think that that's a possibility. The dog, maybe that a fight happened and dog got very defensive. Like if a dog sees, I know I have a golden doodle, right? So my dog's not a vicious dog. If my dog sees me play fighting or sees any of us play fighting, he gets crazy and starts jumping up and looking to like bite, and he's scratching and everything. So I can definitely see that happening. There's a fight, or even there's joking, play fighting, and now the dog freaks out. And since the dog doesn't, they admitted that the dog wasn't good with people, with strangers, the dog could have very well freaked. Or dog jumped him coming in and he got mad at the dog. I mean, there's so many things that could have happened. That's why I'm really hoping that we get something on the dog. A light isn't good. Yeah, I mean, Charisse. Oh God, I'm like delayed on the TV, and I hear everybody screaming downstairs, and I have no idea what's going on. I agree. I don't think that the height of where the taillight is matches with his injuries. South of the Pike is pure corruption. John, he probably was banging someone else, but she didn't do this. We need one of the trauma nurses to testify. Okay. No. Samaritan Hospital was instructed to only draw blood toxicology on Karen. Catherine says there was no dog. What do you mean there was no dog? I just pray that one of them can take the pressure and comes clean. John O'Keefe deserves better. Yeah, I mean, John O'Keefe deserves justice. And that's the sad part, is I don't know if we're ever going to get that, because I don't know if we're ever going to have an answer. It's like John Bonet. Like there's so many unsolved cases, and I think that this case will go unsolved. Because if they were responsible, that will stay, they will die with that. And if she was responsible, she's already so wrapped up in the idea that she's innocent and she's going to prove her innocence, and she's got all this support, that she will ride that till the day she dies. And can we just talk about blood for a second? I know that like he had swelling his eyes were black, so he probably had a lot of swelling on the brain. But there wasn't a lot of blood for a head injury. For the gash that he had, there really wasn't a lot of blood from what I could see with the trial, right? There wasn't a lot of blood. So many more ways he could have, other than a huge car with no bruises. I agree, KZ. It's more likely than not that he was not injured by the car. In Ohio and hit a few big deer and a cracked bumper, but never shattered light. That wasn't from... Right, Tiffy. That's what I was saying before. Like 64 pieces of a tail light. I'm just not buying that a body cracked 64 pieces. I'm just not. I've seen cars that have hit deers because I was in auto claims. And I mean, these cars are smashed the F up. And most of the times the taillights are intact. So, yeah. The guys were fighting at the bar. They jumped him as soon as he walked in. You think so, staying alive? Because I thought they were play fighting at the bar. I can't imagine that he would go back to the house if there really was, the potential for something to happen. Where's that person that said there was no dog? I'm kind of interested to hear what they have to say. If anybody wants to join the chat, if you're pro, if you think she did it, if you don't think she did it, if you have something to share, the chat is open. I do allow guests. Right. That's what I was thinking, Helen. Brain bleeds within. So maybe that's why there wasn't a lot of blood. And that's why he had the two black eyes, because he had swelling on the brain. So he probably had a lot of internal bleeding and not so much external bleeding. She means you can join the live. I didn't look like play fighting at Waterfell. It looked serious. Okay, I have to watch the video again because I watch a lot of the trial on my phone and I can't see. I need to start putting it on my TV. Carpet has blood. KZ, where does the carpet... Tell me more about the carpet because I feel like I don't know enough about the carpet. Have they talked about the carpet at all in this trial? I mean, in this second trial? Can we talk about Sergeant Murphy? Let's do it. Tay Devon. Talk about Sergeant Murphy. Who's Sergeant Murphy? Yes, I'm still here, Nat. I don't know. Head cuts bleed a lot. They may have even be that bad, but they can bleed a lot. I don't know. I really feel like it can go either way. Oh my Lord. I can't believe this. Sergeant Murphy, remind me, who's that again? He worked with them all and said they are nefarious. Oh, have we heard from him at all? Tay Devon? So Zigzy, there apparently was 64 tail light pieces found, but they were found after two independent they were found after two sets of investigators searched. The third time they were found after Proctor had possession of Karen's vehicle. Just in the news and people interviewing. I'm gonna have to look that up. His trial adjacent. Okay. Not talked about yet. The carpet in the basement was replaced. And now, so I do know that the carpet in the basement was replaced and the home was sold. The dog was rehomed. I know that was like big stuff. Definitely suspicious. I think he wanted to face off the bar because Jen tried to get Karen to leave with her. Interesting. I kind of missed that. At the bar. I'm not sure why the defense doesn't call him to the stand. Yeah, I don't know why either. Why was Jen texting him, you coming here? Because he had plans to go there. He texted her initially and he said, where to? And then when he didn't show, supposedly that's when she was texting, are you coming? He's getting interviewed on TV a bit. I'm going to have to look him up. He worked with all of them. I can't get over this. This is the second night with this game, with the basketball games. It's the Celtics versus the Knicks. The games are so freaking tight. The Knicks are down by like 20 points, and then they come back up, and then it's like last night it went into overtime, and I feel like again tonight it's the same thing. There's 1 minute left, and the Knicks are only down by 1 point. Sorry, guys. I'm a big basketball fan. 2 carpets in 1 year. Damn. Why didn't they just fight at the bar, even outside? I mean, so the Emmy ruled cause of death was blunt force trauma and with hypothermia as like a secondary. Oh my God. I can't believe this. All right, I got to go back because I'm missing all the comments. Hold on. What was the last thing that I said? I wonder if it happened in the garage. It could have happened in the garage. There was pig DNA in his wounds. Pig, my dog eats pig ears. Right. So, Ashton, that's why there's an argument that the dog was somehow involved because of the pig DNA. They're saying it could have been from a dog treat. How did Brian Albert never come out being a cop? I know, Debbie, I agree with you. The whole thing is just, how do you like, even if you're not a cop, how do you not ever leave your house? Someone's dead on your lawn and you never come outside? All right. So, I mean, they could have, Katie, I mean, maybe they didn't fight at the bar because they're cops and they don't want to, they want to keep that on the low. Oh, Emmy cause of death, right? So the Emmy cause of death is blunt force trauma and hypothermia. Oh my God, there's 24 seconds left. 24 seconds left. But the manner of death, the Emmy will not determine that it's a homicide and says that it's not consistent with a car, with being hit by a car. So I feel like that right there to me is enough for me to say not guilty. Case closed. Right. Exactly, Ashton. And supposedly they buried the carpet in friend's pool. I heard that, Joyce. Okay, he was whacked on head or fell and banged head. He definitely, did you guys see the autopsy photos? Because he has a very large gash in the back of his head. Colin was definitely somebody that they believe had issues with him and that could have been involved, but I don't know. So I go back and forth with this. On one end of it, I'm like, okay, it makes sense that maybe Colin got into a fight with him. However, Colin was supposedly not there at all when he left before John even got there. So that's one thing. But then on the other end of it, I'm like, it's very possible that he was involved, and that's why they're covering up, because he's a young kid, he's got his whole life ahead of him, and maybe they just felt like they needed to, protect him or whatever. But I don't know if I believe that he did it. I mean, he seemed like a little bit of a punk ass, but I don't feel like he had enough. If anything, I think Brian Higgins and him could have had some sort of beef because Brian was texting Karen. They were texting each other. So I heard mixed reviews on that. I heard that they didn't go to his funeral, and then I heard that's not true, that they did go to his funeral. OMG. I cannot believe this. Boston just is up now 1, and there's 23 seconds left. I'm sorry, guys. I heard when Kay and Jay were on vacation, Colin went to J.O. ring doorbell and was saying F you and was drinking. Yeah, I mean, I did hear there was some shit with Colin that he was, I heard he didn't he rob John O'Keefe or something like that? Whose family, Mia? John's family. John's family is 100% behind the police, and they believe that Karen is responsible. Yes, Mia. John's family does not believe that Karen is innocent. They 100% are behind the police and think that she did it. And they're not only suing, they're not only they did not only file a civil suit against Karen. I don't know if you guys know, but they also filed a lawsuit against the bar that served the drinks. Okay, Tiffany, I wasn't sure if there was any actual evidence or proof of that. The pig DNA can very much be from a treat. Or the pig DNA, I think, can also be from another animal. I mean, there's, like, I don't know about Massachusetts, but we have a lot of raccoons around here, and we also have opossums. So, if his body was laying on the lawn, a raccoon may have gotten up to him. I don't know if that explains the pig DNA, but Joyce, I think this entire unaliving is around drugs. They all joined in when shit started. I live in Canton, Coyote. No, the civil trial hasn't started yet, I don't believe. It'll be after the criminal. Why did they do that against the bar? Yeah, apparently they filed it against the bar as well. And then somebody asked if they filed it against the police department, and they said no, they fully support the police and their investigation. And I'm like, that's wild, because if anybody if anybody should be sued, it should be the police department. Can you check the score again? I fear we are on different sides of the game, but not the case. It's freaking tied with 12 seconds left. I can't get over this. This is just like last night's game. They went into overtime. Wouldn't the animals hunker down with the storm? They do with hurricanes in Florida, silence for days. Lacey, I don't know, honestly. I mean, I live in New York. We don't have a lot, but we had a rat problem one summer. And I will never forget. It was the dead of winter, and I saw footprints in the snow, and I looked on my camera, and oh my God, they won. Oh my God, I'm sorry, guys. I'm so freaking excited. Holy shit, they just scored 1 point and won the game. Sorry, guys. I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm wearing my contacts, but I really need my glasses because my dry eye is killing me. See, we're delayed. My husband and my sons are screaming. I can't get over it. They passed the ball from like half court to Brunson, and then he scored. Anyway, I could see Canton being very cliquey though, because I live in a small town. It's very cliquey here, and every time like I hear like Jen McCabe talking about like who knows who and this, that, it reminds me so much of my neighborhood. I'm here my whole life. I grew up here. Like if something like this happened here, which we had an unaliving here a few years ago, but like it's very small town, very small. Like everybody knows everybody's business. Anyone else think it's Nigel and went there to pick up sister but didn't? Seem like a rug deal. No. I mean, maybe that could have been a rug deal. Maybe he did drop rugs off to her, but I don't think he had anything to do with it. Raccoon and other animals don't feed on dead carcasses. All right, Joyce, with the information. They don't want to be arrested by police. Oh, no, I'm not from Boston. I do really love Joe Mazzulla, the Boston's coach. I absolutely love him. Like my family's always like, all right, stop it, calm down. But I really do love him. But no, I'm a Knicks fan through and through. I do agree that Higgins could be more involved. So funny. Mia's like, oh, the Knicks won. I thought you were for Boston. And then it says Mia followed the creator. So Mia, you followed me now because we're Knicks fans. She's like, okay, I could like her. Did John know about the Higgins text exchange with Karen? I don't know, Sam. Does anybody know that? Can I sum up anything important today, Dana? Who was on the stand today? Matt McCabe was on the stand today, right? Was that today? I'm like, I feel like this day's been so long. Yeah, because I was mopping my floor and listening. Matt McCabe was on the stand today. Nothing really crucial. And then they had the specialist who talked about the phone, and they spent a lot of time on that, on the, did she Google house long to die in the cold at 2:27 or 6:43? And I think we still don't have a motherfucking answer. So you didn't really know. Today was a little kind of low-key day. That's what I do. I listen all day, like while I do my stuff. I have to. This last year has felt like 5 years. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of activity today. But oh my God, Sam, that was freaking hilarious when she was like, I remember the day because, May the 4th be with you. What? This is a professional witness. Why would she never spend the toilet paper on her head? Oh my God, Joyce, you're funny. I agree, Jody. Sounds like a good day to have missed and actually at work. My fault. Yes, Dana, because I think there's going to be days when you're going to want to save it. Somebody said in the chat today that Karen's dad said that tomorrow something big is coming. So I will be all ears. Karen needs to lose the attitude. I do agree. She's just not likable. She's hard to sympathize for. Had to warn the jury about herself. BC had to warn. I know that's right. That also happened today. Bev told the jury, basically, she apologized to the jury for being biased, basically. Yeah, she was an annoying witness. The whole case should be tossed out. I agree, Jody. Also, Karen hooked into John's Wi-Fi at 12:35, but Jennifer McCabe says she saw him out there at 12:45. Yeah, the timeline doesn't add up, Ashton, for sure. Hope it's the FBI. Yeah, I mean, do we even know? Is the FBI even done with their investigation? Jessica responded to the lawyers like she was speaking to children. I mean, listen, when she was on there with the prosecution, I actually appreciated that she was talking in layman's terms, because I literally am like, when she's going off on like the BCC and the fuck. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, lady. Just get to the basics. Did she fucking Google house long to die in the damn cold at 2:27 or 6:34? I mean, come on, just get to it, But yeah, so I mean, appreciate it. But then I think she was losing people with the analogies of the food, and you go to the restaurant and you order the food, and then I just think she was fucking losing people because people were saying they were hungry. It was just not a good look before lunch. It was not a good idea before lunch. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they'll find. That absolutely drove me nuts. She did have dreads. Oh, she had dreads. That's why she had her hair wrapped. Shoe looked way too clean this time around. I think honestly it was just like the shadowing on the shoe, but the timeline only doesn't add up for the McAlberts. She was talking about chicken and laughing with the prosecution, but the defense, she was very defensive. Yeah, she was. Jessica responded to the lawyer like she was speaking to children. I agree, Joyce. I mean, it does need to be simple. Not everybody understands that kind of technology. Charlie, you said my spouse works in tech and said she did. She did what? Sorry, I probably already forgot what I said before. Oh, shit. Britt, do not use that thing. I'm telling you, I told you they need to replace it. Especially for the jury. And you need to make them fucking reimburse you for that shit. So, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I think, I'm sticking to the fact that I think she's not going to be found guilty. I really want to see if they do come out with some evidence of the dog. That would really blow the socks off this case if they have some sort of evidence of the dog. I'm sorry, but when I saw the image, that's all my brain comprehended. She Googled at 2:26. Has been cut off twice. Do you think Apple's going to respond? Because I know Elon will respond when it comes to his Tesla. A lot of people don't think she's guilty. Dub, what do you think of the whole Aruba trip? I don't know anything about Aruba trip, Madison. Whose live do you watch, Christy? I watch my live, Joyce. You mean like the live trial? I don't watch. I usually just watch Court TV or Law and Crime because I can't I can't listen to as much as I like Emily D. Baker. I can't listen to commentary. I get confused. I'd rather almost listen to it again a second time and then listen to the commentary, because if they're talking and I'm trying to listen to the trial, then I just get confused, and then I'm only hearing what they say and they're sharing their opinion, so I like to hear it from like the horse's mouth. Emily is great. She's very smart. Court TV is biased against Karen. Most of the times when I'm listening, I'm not really listening to anybody talk. I don't think they're biased against Karen. I think Vinny Politan doesn't think she did it. I don't think he's actually come out and said it, but I don't think he thinks she did it. The Aruba witness from the first trial they tried to use to defame Madison. I don't know anything about that. But I didn't watch the first trial. I watched clips and I did a lot of reading on the trial, but I didn't know anything about that. Oh, the lady, he knew that Karen flipped over because he hugged her? Oh, was that the girl that said she had an attitude with her? I don't know if Emily has a TikTok. I know she's on YouTube as Emily D. Baker. Oh, okay. I do remember that from the first trial, from clips and stuff. But I don't remember like detailed stuff. Was he though? I mean, is there evidence that he was cheating on her? I think you're right. There was evidence, right? I think we do know that he cheated on her, which is probably why Karen was such a freaking lunatic when she called him that night and was like going off, because she obviously was extremely insecure. I agree too, Madison. I think there's just a lot of alcohol involved. I don't mean to be like stereotypical, but a lot of the times law enforcement, police officers, they cheat, they get around. So, I've left messages in the past before my... Did you call him a pervert? Because the pervert part is just weird, Sam. I would be like, you fucking whore. But I don't know if I would say pervert. Pervert is such a weird thing to say. Yeah, they clearly don't believe in designated drivers, but I mean, they're law enforcement. They feel like they're untouchable. They, can get I mean, if we've learned anything, we've learned that they clearly don't think that they have to follow the law when it comes to drinking and driving, right? The swinging thing bothered Karen. Right. Somebody else said, Tina, were you the one that said that there was swinging going on, or did somebody else say that? Ew, that's so nasty. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be judgy, but the swinging thing is so fucking gross. Ew. That's so gross. They were swingers? So fucking nasty. So maybe McCabe slept with John O'Keefe. Ew. That's so fucking gross. Oh, okay. It was another person. Okay. So that's more than one person that's saying that. So maybe there's some validity to that. Emily Baker Lornards. Okay, somebody put her username. Jen Def wanted John. Why was she texting him so much when he was standing outside? Yeah, it was weird. Like, she was like coming in, park behind there. Are you like, she was calling him. That's the other thing too. Like, the defense made that point today that there were seven butt dial calls from McCabe to John O'Keefe. He's like, which technically would have meant there was like 14 calls, because if you don't, basically it has to go to voicemail, and there were no voicemails. So that was really weird. Like, all those calls that she made to him, like, there's way too much butt dialing going on with these people. Like, come on. I'm sorry. Like, I used to butt dial, but it very rarely happens now because of the phone lock. I just, like, it happens, but like today I accidentally FaceTime somebody in my contacts that I haven't spoken to in like 12 years. And I was like, oh my God. And I immediately clicked off. And I know, like, what iPhone, like, you don't even hear it ring on your end and the person's already got the phone call. So I can definitely see that, but I don't know. The butt dialing, like, that much accidental butt dialing is not believable to me. So Madison, I thought about that. Why wouldn't you just go out and ask? But truthfully, like, I was thinking about it on, like, from my perspective, and I probably wouldn't have gone outside, just because I'm more of a text person. And I also, like, if a guy friend of mine was outside with his girlfriend and they were talking, I would think maybe something was going on between them, and I wouldn't want to go out and, like, be intrusive. So I would probably just text. So I don't think I would actually walk out and see what's going on. She called 200 people. She called people 200 times in 72 hours. Where's the tan? Wow, you got really tan. Okay. We lost. No, we didn't. I watched the game. I cannot believe he threw that from half court to Brunson, and he scored.
We were already up one. That didn't matter.
I thought we were down one.
McKill just locked them up.
Oh, I thought we were down by one. I can't see that well.
We were up 91.
Oh, okay. I can't see that well, but I just saw that we scored and we won.
Did your live get a whole reaction when you saw that we won?
Yes, I got a like just for being a Knicks fan.
But yeah, so we were up one because Brunson hit 2 free throws after a foul, so we were up one, and then Mikal Bridges stole the ball, so he was just throwing it. But
okay. I thought he passed it to Brunson, and I got a little excited.
We won it already.
Can someone explain how you get 2 black eyes? So I explained this before that I think it was more that he had one. I love you. It was more that he had 1 black eye. And then I think because he had internal head trauma, what happens is the blood fills in the head. I'm getting off in 5 minutes. Oh my God, go clean yourself. Do not go on my bed like that. So I think what happened was the head trauma caused the black eyes because of the swelling on the brain. I think when the blood has nowhere to go, so it starts to come out. Oh my God, Ashlyn, that's funny that you say that because we actually joke around on Discord about his beard because I think it's so weird, his beard. Yeah, I know. That's a good point too. They didn't take any blood from Jen. The injuries that Brian Alberts has, someone resurfaced a photo of him with a broken arm and a black eye, but we have no idea when those photos were taken. He actually looks younger than he does now. So I'm not convinced that those were taken any time around that time. However, Colin Albert did have bruises on his knuckles that he said he got from falling in the snow, which does not seem believable to me at all. I think they're going to call Proctor Ashlyn, but not 100% sure. But I do have a feeling he will end up. You think Alessi's cute for an older man? The only guy that I think is cute is Crash Daddy. Yes, the Celtics lost again. Sorry, Kevin, but I'm happy. I'm so fucking happy. I love Joe Mazzulla. I really do, but I want the Knicks to win.
Mom,
yes.
the same thing happened.
I know, same thing.
Bridges ripped the ball out of his hand.
I know. Why can't they question Colin like they did last time? Yeah, I don't know if Colin's going to be on the witness stand this time. Yeah, Dr. Wolf. I thought he was kind of cute, Dr. Wolf. He had like a cute little smile. So I did think he was kind of cute. What do you mean, who? Mind your business. Anyway, I'm going to have to get off because I got to put my boy to bed. But tomorrow, supposedly, there is going to be, according to somebody in the chat, Karen's dad says something big will be coming tomorrow. So stay tuned, guys. When the police pulled up John's house to pick up kids, you could see the light broken. So I'll be live again. I don't know when. Probably going to let the week finish out and then maybe go live on Sunday. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that being dog bites. I see it would be more dog scratches, you know. But I love chatting with you guys. Please follow me. I'll go live again Sunday after the next 2 days of trial, and we'll bullshit about what happened since then. Let's see what happens tomorrow. This trial is definitely better than TV. I live for this trial, and I can't wait to see what we have going on for tomorrow because supposedly something big's coming. Anyway, thank you for following, and have a great night, guys. Bye.